I am really glad that you are tuning in. And I just want to give you a little heads up like, hey, what are we doing? Why are we on every day this week? And what can you expect? Well, let me just give you a quick intro on this. And it really goes back to a webinar that Billy did recently that's called Something's Gotta Give. And if you haven't watched that, I encourage you to go back and tune in to that because really there is so much good information. But one of the things that Billy's been talking about for a couple of years now, he saw the interest rates, they were going to rise. He saw that the housing market was going to kind of slow down because of that, even though we do still have tight inventory. But basically, what he was sharing with us is that this is the time for us to really get geared up in understanding with real estate to be able to recognize what is ahead. There is such an opportunity that's ahead. And again, Billy has been predicting this for a long time. And he's saying now is the time. He's really seen over the next few months that we are going to see some softening in markets. But those of us that have studied real estate, many of you watching probably have, and I've got my experts on, we just really want to make sure that you understand that this is the time to get educated and understand so that you can leverage what is ahead in the real estate market. You know, there's some statistics that I share on at various times that really describe what is ahead. And if you think about the fear that the world is trying to put on us and the enemy is trying to put on us to get us to stop and not do anything, you know, God is a God of faith. And if he has put real estate on your heart or you have a desire for it, we believe that we are going into the one of the most opportune times in real estate in recent history. So go back to even the Depression, okay? Things looked horrible. There was like no hope, but the people that understood the times that we were in, just like Issachar, what they did is they purchased real estate or they purchased businesses when everybody else was in fear. And there were more millionaires created during that time than any other time in history. So we really want to help you to see that we are on the verge of an incredible opportunity, but to be able to leverage that or take advantage of it without being filled with fear or, you know, maybe making some bad mistakes on a purchase or a sale, we want to make sure you understand the times that we're in. So I've got an amazing panel of coaches that are on, and I'm actually going to introduce you to them one at a time. They're familiar faces to you, and they're going to comment on some things too, like, hey, what are we seeing during this time? So I'm going to start out with Mike Davis. Mike is a real estate investor. He's a pastor in Pueblo. Just an amazing, Mike, you are an inspiration to so many of us. And I love your like scriptural foundation too of understanding the times. So Mike, if you could just say hi to everybody and give us a little insight into why you think now is a good time to really dig into understanding real estate.
But like you said, it's great to be here. First of all, Karen, thank you. But like you said, it's the will of God for us to prosper, Psalms 35:27. And if God has put real estate in your heart, there's a reason for that. He wants you to prosper. Whatever you set your hand to, he said, you shall prosper. And he didn't put a little subtitle in that saying, but if the economy's bad, you know, well, then you're going to have to make do. No, there's when it comes to God, Karen, I'm telling you, we need to look for open doors, believe for open doors. I'll just give you a quick testimony. I'm in the process of, I've got a rental here in Pueblo, and I was going to rent it for $1,000. And one of our clients, Nancy, was purchasing down here in Pueblo, and she had a connection with a realtor through the steel mill that's really big here in Pueblo. They're building on a whole new section to the steel mill where they're flying people in from Texas. They're hiring 150 more employees. But the thing is, there's not enough housing here, and they're staying in the hotels, you know, which is horrible because they're staying here for 3 to 6 months to help get things started. And this is going to be ongoing. It's not just 3 to 6 months, but they'll send another crew in. And this is the thing. She says, I can furnish this and rent it for $1,800 to $2,000 and then pay for the utilities. Now, I put all of this together, and it's just thinking a little bit outside the box. But you know what Billy says, you don't pursue money, money is attracted. And I just thought, boy, this is a deal that's attracted that I never thought of, for the steel mill and being able to go from $1,000 to almost $2,000 in rent. I'm telling you, Karen, this is God, and I believe He wants to do great things for the people of God.
Wow, Mike, that's so good. And actually, that's why you reached out to me for that
I
checklist, is
did,
because you're like, hmm.
I did. So thank you.
That's so cool. And that's
Yes,
just a great example too. Like we have a lot of resources together with helping people, right? Mike, that's amazing. Thank you so
yes,
much for that insight.
Amen.
Also, just to let you guys know, we're going to answer questions. We do have a topic that we have chosen for each day, and I'll explain a little bit more about that. But we are taking questions. This is your time to really learn about real estate, and we really want you to get in the game. So, the next coach I'm going to introduce you is Troy Peterson. Troy has been in real estate for decades. He has a real estate agency, really an expert in property management. He's down in the Florida, Melbourne, Cocoa Beach area where we're investing. So Troy, welcome. Say hi to everybody and give us your perspective on what's ahead here.
Well, hi, everybody. Welcome and happy Monday. I couldn't be more excited than to share this with you. As Karen said, I've been in real estate for 30 years now, and it's kind of my passion. Every time I try to walk away, I come right back. It's something God put in my heart, and I just can't stay away from it. It's such a wonderful opportunity. Well, I can tell you in that 30 years, I've seen the market change quite a bit. I've watched it. In fact, I started right after a market peak and I got started in a market crash. I rode the wave all the way up to the 2008 crash and watched it reset. And the one thing I've seen that's consistent is there's a lot of people that try to sell a house when it crashes. It's kind of what J. Paul Getty said years ago. The best way to really profit is to buy when everybody else is selling and sell when everybody else is buying. So I have been waiting with bated breath for this season to come because it's a great opportunity to be able to buy. And I have already started buying this year. I bought a couple. They're cash flowing already very well. I'm not worried about interest rates because all that's done is create an opportunity. This is a great time for a transference of wealth. And we are very excited to be able to share this with you and can't wait to hear some of your stories as you get into this journey as well.
Wow, that's awesome, Troy. Thank you so much. And we've also got Frank Pulley on, who is not only a real estate coach with us, a business coach. And Frank, you have been in real estate for decades, work with Bill Bronchek, so knowledgeable in so many areas. Say hi to everybody and give us your take
Everybody.
on why is this the time to really learn and start to pursue real estate?
Well, I mean, it boils down to education. I mean, just like the guys have said, I mean, there are deals out there. You just got to know how to find them. Are they low hanging fruit? No. But there's a lot of people waiting on the fence right now that are waiting till, the paper, the newspaper, the media, everything says now's the time to buy. Well, by the time they say that, it's about 6 months to a year too late. So really, I mean, the Lord is placing opportunities out there. You just need to know where to get them. Don't let them pass you by.
Yeah, that's so good. And we're just all about that. And really that's a lot of that's why we're doing this week is we're seeing like people have got to understand what is ahead and the opportunity. And so we've got a topic for each day. And today we're going to be talking about how to maximize your profits for minimum expense. Sometimes there's things in life where you do have to sell your house. Like for example, we're moving, okay? And so we have to sell our house. And I've been doing a lot of research on that, kind of figuring out what we need to do to stand out in the market. Guys, we've all been in real estate for a while too, and the 2 and 3%, the just, stick a sign up in front of the yard, that is not normal. And so we're actually in more of a normal time for real estate now than what we've experienced the past few years. But if you don't see that or know that, again, just like Issachar, knowing the times and what to do during the times, you could really see an opportunity pass by, or you could be in a situation where you're not understanding what to all leverage to maximize the season or the time that you're in personally. So today I'm going to be sharing with you just some things if you are selling a house, or let's say you're buying, you can work it on the flip side too, some things to look for that you can get a deal, okay? And then you can do some minor things to give yourself an edge in the market. So I'm going to be giving you some statistics. I'm going to ask the guys to definitely chime in and give us some input. But the market today is much different than even a year ago or a year and a half ago. And so we need to be sharp. We need to have understanding, right? Like Billy says, it's knowledge, understanding, and wisdom. And when we steward this time and gain that knowledge, I assure you, this is going to be an amazing season for all of us in real estate as we pursue God's best. All right, so before I get started, anything that you guys want to chime in on as I pull up my PowerPoint?
Nope.
All right, so let's get this pulled up here. As I mentioned to you, we are in a season change. We're very excited. I don't think I've told all of you, I've told the coaching clients and certainly the guys that are on, but Dave and I are relocating from Texas to Colorado. And we're very excited about that. Dave will be working at Andrew Womack Ministries, and I'm so excited to be closer to Wealth Builders. But it was a time, we didn't really see this coming. We kind of sensed it, but we found ourselves putting our house on the market at a time where things are not right at the peak. So we've been really digging in and just like making sure that we're doing everything we can to leverage the situation. And I want to tell you that even though the market is still really, really good here, I uncovered some key things that helped us make good decisions to make sure that when we are out in the market, we're going to get the maximum price and at minimum expense. But also, as we relocate into Colorado, I know exactly the type of house I'm going to look for to get it at a good price and apply some things to bring the value up. So guys, I just want to encourage you to chime in anytime. If you watching have got a question, I'm keeping an eye on that as well. Matter of fact, we already have one question that is out there from Henry, and we'll answer that for you, Henry, okay? All right, so when we were hopping on, Gabriella, she's our office manager, amazing team member. Many of you know her. She's like, "Is that your house?" I said, "Yes, I'm giving you pictures of my house and some before and afters so that you know, like, hey, yeah, she's really living this right now." All right, so if you're in that position where you are selling your house or just wanting to learn, like I said, some things that are going to help you to position yourself for buy, there is a process that I want to share with you that is going to help you know what to do to attract buyers in maybe the time where it takes more than putting a sign in the front. So I laid out some steps for you, and I'm going to give you some examples. But if you're in that position, the first thing you want to do if you're buying or selling is start to study the market. And it's never been easier to study the market because everything is out there online, whether it's realtor.com, Zillow, Redfin. Those are things that you can research and give some attention to find out what's happening in your area or the area that you want to buy in. So I have on here, the step is to go into realtor.com or one of the other ones and find out and research what's currently for sale. Now, there's a lot of information that you can find in there, everything from like, hey, let's look how they're presenting the house, to the price per square foot, to, what's the current hot things in a market. And that's going to really help you on both sides too. Review the time on the market. I love to look at that. And if you're on the buy side, of course, you want to look for those properties that have been on the market for a long time. And this has been unusual compared to what we have been used to the last couple years. But there are some properties that have been on the market 60, 70, 80, even over 100 days. So on the buy side, those would be ones I'd definitely be looking at. And what we've been sharing with you too is, even though people's head is still kind of like thinking that the market's really hot, and it kind of is still in comparison, but they're still looking at prices that were in effect in 2 and 3% interest rate environments. So what they're realizing, because these are not moving, is that they probably won't be able to get that top dollar unless their property is in top condition. There's a lot more in the market right now. So when we go in and we look at pricing for houses that have been on a long time, this is a time to go in with a low offer, right? But if we're on the sell side, it's time for us to dig in and say, what do I need to do to still get the price that people were paying in the last year and 2 years? The other thing I would recommend to you is go to open houses. What's so funny is, during COVID or during the hot time, the agents didn't need to do open houses, right? Now all at once there's open houses. So something that I did, as I knew we were getting ready to put the house on the market, is I went around and I looked at other open houses and started to look for things. So let me just tell you some of my insight on this. One house that I looked at, it was absolutely beautiful. I started to go into the backyard. I looked down on the floor, and the corner of that house was so filthy. It was just disgusting. And I was like, okay, remember, clean every square inch of the house, the corners and everything. But those are things that when people are having more options, right, that they pay attention to. I'm going to take you through this process, but basically I just want to let you know that I go in, look at the buys, or the for sales. I hide the contingents so I can see what the market is doing. The market I'm going to show you is right here in this area of South Lake, and I went tight into the area around our house, and there are 53 active on the market. And when I clicked on remove hide contingent, there are about 41 that are under contract. So what that tells you in a market is, you know what, there's a lot for sale and not a lot are going under contract. And I want to know why, right? So then the next thing is you change your settings to sold and review similar recent homes to help you get an understanding of what's moved, and then make a list of things that are standouts to the homes that are sold, contingent, or pending, which gives you an idea of what to either fix up if you pick up a property, or what to, maybe do to improve your home to get in that space to hit the top of the market. And then I like to look at the price per square foot as a consistent metric. All right, so this is, and if you're on your phone, you guys, which a lot of people are, like you're on your phone every morning like I am, you can even go on your phone right now as we're going through this and go to your app, realtor.com, or go to Zillow.com, go in the area that you are interested in, and you're going to see a map like this that is the place to start. So this is right around our house, and it gives you a glimpse of, okay, here's all the properties that are for sale around our house. So that's a good place to start. So then I would go into and do a range of what we're looking for, similar pricing, put that in, and it's going to give you an idea of the types of properties out there that are similar to yours, or maybe the ones that you want to try to buy, and you can start to go through and research those. As I mentioned, I went in and I did some similar home sizes. You can also add things like if it's got a pool, if it's on a waterfront, those types of things that help you to know, based on the type of property you have, how many actually fit that criteria. So interesting, you saw how many were on this previous screen when I actually put in the criteria of where our home size is. Look at that, I only had 8 results. And that in itself helped me to know, okay, I'm not in a sea of all these, 53 properties that I'm competing with. Actually, I'm in a sea of these 8 because our house is 3,800 square foot. And that in itself helped me to look at what the competition was. And I actually raised our price when I saw what else was out there. And we knew what we needed to invest in to put ourselves in a good position in the market. All right, so then, as I mentioned, you hide the pending, which gives you a little tighter understanding of what's available. And then I go in and I study those houses, because if you've got a total that were in the total parameters of 53 that were for sale and 41 are contingent, I want to know what caused, or I'm sorry, 41 are still for sale. So there was only 12 that were contingent. I want to know why the houses that sold. And it can be a multitude of things. It can be pricing. Certainly people price themselves in the market, but most probably outside of price, it's those homes had certain things that people are actually looking for that propelled them to purchase that house. And I wanted to make sure that I was in that mix. The other thing that you do is go in and you can look at recently solds. So I went in and I've been looking at recently solds around here and doing the same thing. Why did this sell? What was the price per square foot? How does that compare to mine? And what can I do to get myself in that position faster? So I am going to show you some real life examples of how I went through and studied the market. So this is a property that has been on the market for 31 days. So in that criteria I was sharing with you, there's really not homes out there unless they're way overpriced that are sitting on the market for 50 days or 100 days. But this one has been sitting, and from what I've seen, it definitely is priced right. So I want to know what not to do to find out what to do. So when I looked at this, I noticed that one of the big things is in this area, in every area is unique, is bathrooms, especially the master bathroom. And so I looked at this and it was like, okay, this tile is like really out there, right? People can handle some dated, but that is probably a real turnoff for people. The other thing is I was thinking this is quite beautiful, but there's something going on with this wall that's really dark. And you all know that I'm a fan of home staging, but one of the things that I found is that the vacant homes are sitting compared to the staged homes or the people that have got a nice furniture layout in their home. I also was looking at the kitchen, and you can see that the countertop is quite dated. The cabinets are not, but there's something with this blue going with this that makes it look old. Even though the backsplash is nice, the countertops aren't too bad. That blue is throwing things off. So if I was advising these people on how to sell their home, this is what I would say. I would tell them to, if they can't afford to replace their tile, they need to stage their bathroom to take the eye away from the dark tile. When you go into a home and it's vacant like this, tell me what you see. When I look at that picture, all I can see is that dark tile. And then I'm looking at the floor and it's like, wow, that's like cheap, ceramic tile. Where if it was staged and maybe a couple things to draw the eye away from that, I really think they could overcome it. Here, this is a beautiful room as far as I'm concerned, but because there's no furniture, it's tough to know how to live in there. What I would tell them to do here is I would advise them to paint their walls something neutral, like I like to use alabaster, and I'm going to show you pictures of that. Or, if they could paint their walls and even like replace the countertops in this price range, it would probably do them some good. And then it's a pool, which is very important in Texas, but there is nothing out there that is drawing me to it. There's nothing. It's just you go in the backyard and it's just a plain pool. So I would encourage them to stage their home, to put some furniture in the back that helps me to see how to enjoy that pool, and neutralize out through staging some of these bold colors. Okay, now this is a property that in the same market recently sold. All right, so I can look at the other and make some assumptions, but now I really want to see what's happening. So you can see right now when you look at this property, Look they don't have dark walls, right? They probably painted them and they made it neutral. So everything is light and bright. They've got furniture despite, do you see that they've got very dark floors, which you could say maybe isn't really in right now, although I'm going to show you our house has dark floors. And they put furniture in that makes it look updated along with the light walls. Although I can tell you from the outside of the homes, most of these South Lake homes, you can't do anything with the exterior because of the HOAs. You have to leave it as old looking brick, which is not fun, but they made the most of the interior. Then the next thing you'll notice here that they have almost the same cabinets as that previous property, but look at this, they painted, they don't have blue walls. They've got a lighter countertop, okay? And they have it staged, which helps take the eye away from anything that's negative. This is an even better picture of that kitchen, and you can definitely see that it is a more neutral approach to the kitchen, okay? And then this is the back, which is beautiful. They've got a waterfall there, and they've got some patio furniture. So I looked through more of the home, but these are little things. And let me ask you, how much does it cost to paint? Very little, right? So if all that you can do is paint and stage and do some things with your property, you are going to give yourself a significant edge. Okay, so let's look at the 10 best ROI home improvements. And this is from fortunebuilders.com. And these are the things that they said, if you do these things, you're going to get the highest ROI or return on investment. And I do want to encourage you that certainly there are differences in each market, but this is just general. So it says minor bathroom remodel. Bathrooms are really important and it returns an average of 102%. Now that is in like the appraised value, but let me tell you, when you buy a home or someone buys a home, your ROI is going to be much higher if you hit these items, because people purchasing a home is an emotional decision. So when they walk into your property, and if it's something where they're like, ooh, I don't like this, okay, it might appraise out at almost the same value as what I'm showing you, but you're going to lose that buyer because of the emotion. Now let's turn the tables on that. So now we're going into this time where there's a lot of properties out there that people have gotten lazy with. And that is your and I opportunity to go in and say, wow, this really feels icky, but if I painted this, if I put in new countertops, we actually painted our ledge stone. Dave did an amazing job. We know how to go in and buy with things that have that icky or ooh feel, offer less on them, and do minor things to bring that value up to the top of the market. Landscaping returns an average of 100%, but again, emotionally, curb appeal is important. They suggest a minor kitchen remodel, attic bedroom conversion if there's additional space. A major bathroom remodel from an appraisal standpoint isn't going to give you 100% return, but again, from an emotional it is. Or a major kitchen remodel if it's needed. Entry door replacement. How many times have you gone up to a door and you're just like, oh my gosh, this door's filthy or it's old, and then it just like right away you're going into the house with that negativity. So I've seen people replace the front door. I've seen people paint the front door. And I've got an amazing hack for you. We have this black metal door, which was looking really aged. It was looking tired. And so, you know what Dave did? He went, you guys are going to laugh at this. He went and he bought that tire cleaner, you know, the one that makes your tires look nice and black. And he rubbed that on our front door, and our front door looks brand new. Just little things like that make such a difference. Deck, patio, porch, if you don't have that, to add it. Basement, we don't really have basements here. I know in Colorado and other Minnesota, other parts do. So if you've got that updated, and I would tell you, just over the years of real estate, selling a ton of homes, one of the things you can do if you've got a basement is make the colors and finishes similar to what is on the other parts of your home. Okay, so if you have got, for example, alabaster walls on your main level and you go downstairs, paint your same wall the same color and try to use similar finishes, because emotionally, subconsciously, when somebody goes down into the basement, if it looks the same, they look at that and it feels like an extension of the rest of your house. However, if you go down into a basement and everything is abruptly different, they've kind of shut off, all right, now this is a separate space, and they don't really see it as a consistent living area that goes and moves with the rest of your house. And then replacing windows is really a good thing to do too. If they're cracked, or if they've got like a moisture barrier on them, or they're not good quality, that can really be a hindrance. Troy knows this, but one of the things that in Florida that we look for is we look for houses that have, even if they're ugly, if they have already replaced their windows, because you have to have hurricane windows. A lot of people going in don't see past that, but we know if there are newer windows or upgraded windows, that's going to save us tens of thousands of dollars, and we can handle all the cosmetic things. All right, let's move along here. All right, home staging, I've already talked about that, but it's a very important part of your marketing and pricing strategy. This is something that you can get in your property if you're selling without a lot of expense, and the value, I'll show you some statistics, goes up significantly. But conversely, if you go into a property and they don't know about home staging, they haven't done anything, if you incorporate that, we've even seen times where people go in, you can buy your property really low, not put in a ton of money, but do these cosmetic things and stage it and put it right back on the market and make a handsome profit. So that's something that's really key. And everybody's looking for it. So, with HGTV, you probably watch some of those programs too. People expect a lot and they go shopping initially on the internet. So when you stage and you do nice photos, you're going to attract people right away. And people don't buy houses unless you can first get them in the front door. All right, these are just some statistics that I'll just share with you. A staged home on average sells 70% higher than a home that is not staged. That is a statistic from the U.S. Housing and Urban Development. That in itself would encourage you to pay attention to this, right? There's some other things too that really support it. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to share with you some before and afters. And then I'm going to have the guys comment on what they're seeing on both sides of the coin, either buying and leveraging what I'm sharing with you, or selling. So here we go. So this is our property that we are actually just getting ready to put on the market. And what I did is I could have gone through and done like 30 slides for you, which of course I love to geek out on that, but I'm sparing you. I only did about 5. But I went back in the listing when we purchased this home in 2019, and what was going on with that house. And I'm going to share with you things we did that are very, very small cost, that are putting us in a position to actually double what we bought it for, which is great. All right, so this is a porch. When we bought it, this porch was the outside brick, and this is the outside color of our home, which I would love to paint. But we just took a whitewash of 50-50 with that color alabaster that I was sharing with you, which is a Sherwin-Williams color. And we whited it out with a 50-50 mix, and then we did about a 75% coverage on the floor, because the floor here was orange as well. And just doing that, just getting some furniture in, keeping it in some of the neutral colors, it looks like a remodel, but really that's all it was, right? And some furniture. And obviously that's a continuation now of the house. So instead of going out in the porch and feeling like you're in, like, oh, I'm in a porch, it actually feels like part of the home, which is going to help us with that feel of additional square footage. This is a kitchen that when we bought it, they really like stuff on top. So as a stager, and like, get all your stuff off the top. We just live that way. But you can see this was the granite, which is in itself just isn't a bad, but I knew studying properties that was the one thing I was going to spend money on. And I'll tell you how we did it. But we get rid of all this. We move, clean this up. You can see it's dated. And here's a trick for you that I've used in multiple properties, and you're not going to believe it. It's going to cost you about $300. and it is to put in a portable island. This kitchen is big, but it felt weird because when you went in, there was this big gap between the stove top and the desk area. And it's like, what do you do with this? It's kind of too far to walk things over. So just adding a $300 island, which, as I mentioned, we've done in so many properties, made a significant difference. And what we did invest in was quartz countertops. And so this is obviously a little bit of an older model, even though it was updated before we bought it. It's that tin with the brown. So I got Calcutta gold. I studied this out, and it's got a brownish gold streak in it that ties it in, and it looks like a different kitchen. Also, you'll see too, we had updated the wall colors. This is Repose Gray and Sherwin-Williams, and I'll show you a room with alabaster as well. So what's the total cost of something like this? It's a huge kitchen. So we did spend about $7,000 on those quartz countertops, $300 on the island, but I kept all the backsplash. I didn't have to replace any of the tile, and I didn't do anything else to this kitchen. All right, this is our master bedroom. And so this is something too that I want to tell you. This is like, it's really about the paint here. So we did not add anything as far as anything that had major costs. We replaced the carpet, but when we bought it, just something simple, like they had kind of old dated furniture, and the way they had this set up is they were facing, when they would sleep, the door. Well, look at this view. This is a beautiful outside view. So we just put the bed on this wall. I added an electric fireplace, which, let me tell you, for about $700, even $500, you can make your room look like it's got a thousands of dollar fireplace. You just get a good quality one that's got some size to it. So I just added that to the back wall, painted it alabaster, and then I just kind of neutralized things out and updated it, kept it white, light and bright. And so the expense on something like this, it's like $600 that I paid for that fireplace. The artwork was actually in our attic that I had Dave pull that back down. I was moving chairs around, and then I just invested in some Pottery Barn pillows. I even moved this from another room, got some lanterns, and this room looks literally like it was a $10,000 to $15,000 remodel, when in fact, it was a very minimum investment that brought a lot of return. Okay, so I had one more I thought that I wanted to share with you. I guess I don't have it. It's the bathrooms. I was going to show you how to stage that, but I'll work on maybe getting that picture up for you as well. So with that, I want to just pause and let you know too that we're really intense this week. The guys are going to give us some more information, but I want to make sure you know that we've got an upcoming Wealth Builders Real Estate Workshop that is happening October 13th through the 15th. And the reason that we are saying, like, you guys, if you love real estate, please think about this, is we are going to help you get equipped to know and be prepared for the opportunity that we're coming into. And we've got a special code for you. We'll put it in the chat section there. It's WB200, which allows you to get $200 off either the in-person or the live stream. Okay, so I am going to stop my share screen. And guys, I would love for you to just give some of your thoughts on this and some of the things you're seeing to position us really well for the market that's ahead to buy, but also if you're in a place to sell, what are some things that people can do? All right, so Troy, I am going to start with you, and I'm going to check out some of our questions.
All right, I know we got some good questions. I've been watching that. So Karen, that was priceless information you just shared. I saw we had one comment talking about how valuable that information is. And yes, it really is priceless information. Now, what I've been seeing in the market is a year ago, anybody could put a sign in the yard and put a lockbox on the door and they could sell it. It was MLS, which I say stands for mostly lazy salespeople. But today, you have to be creative. You have to do some of these things that Karen's talking about. Staging is key. I've even got to where I stage some of our rental properties because it helps fill them faster.
Yeah.
So you really do want to be staging. You know, at the very least, you can do virtual staging for your photos, but actual staging to really put furniture in the house, to decorate it up, it's not that expensive, and it will pay dividends when you go back to sell. This is going to be so critical in our times coming, because one thing I know is when the market changes, the only reason a property won't sell is because it's not priced right. And if you want to get the best price, these strategies that Karen shared with you today are going to get you there. So great job. Great stuff, Karen. Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you so much, Frank.
Well, you mentioned HGTV, and HGTV, my wife and I watch quite a bit of it. We enjoy it, but really we're looking at it for design ideas more than anything. And I think it's good for design ideas. Here's the thing though, you got to make sure you fix to the level of the neighborhood. And a good way to do that is do your analysis, just like Karen mentioned. And she mentioned going to open houses, but go to the open houses, not only to see what's out there, but to see what degree rehabbers and people are fixing their properties up to, because you don't want to overfix it. I made a fortune in the mid 2000s when people overfixed their properties and they couldn't sell them seriously. So I mean, but staging, I can't say enough about staging, and I agree with you, Troy. We, even in good markets, we stage our rentals, not maybe as thoroughly as we do a rehab or something like that, but I mean, evoking those, what would you say, pockets of emotion where you got, in a kitchen, you got maybe some a pasta pan, an Italian cookbook, a couple other things. Just let people think about themselves. Hey, I can be there. I'm going to be cooking. This is going to be a great place. A chair with a book in it for people to say, hey, you know what? I can see myself reading there. So
Yeah.
simple for rentals. Definitely, you got to step it up for rehabs.
Wow, Frank, that's awesome. Mike, what are your thoughts on this and what we're headed into to get that edge?
Well, first of all, obviously, Frank, Karen has rubbed off on you. I can see that just by the way
Yes.
you're talking.
Big time.
This is the 7 seconds rule, Karen, your famous book.
Yeah.
I mean, when I remember years ago when you came out with that book, I thought, well, that's just unfair. That's not right. Just they're going to make up their mind in 7 seconds. But you know what? It is so true. I've got one word for you, Karen, looking at all of the new stuff that you did to your home. One word: inviting. I think that is the word. I mean, even the porch, I thought, man, I would love to have coffee sitting on that porch. It's just, and why? Because it's inviting. You see yourself in that. I think that is so vital in this knowledge that you're giving out, Karen. It's really remarkable. But as far as what I'm seeing in Pueblo, just like we say, real estate is local, it's not national. But the market is tight here. And so if you're going to get top rents, you're going to have to do things like what I'm learning as far as like getting nurses, maybe getting certain businesses that are coming in. You can do that. And it's thinking outside the box. And if you make the property inviting, like you just talked about, I tell you what, you're going to get top dollar. It's going to be awesome. I think this was great.
Oh, that's great. And it's so funny too, because you all know, Levi and Carly are doing real estate with us. And Levi used to have to be the guy that would go and haul all my furniture and help me stage. And I tell you, during that time, it was like a labor of love. It wasn't his favorite thing to do. But what's so funny now, we'll walk into properties that are just like, oh, and he's like, oh yeah, we'll just like paint the walls, we'll stage this, and we'll be able to turn this around, So it's like when you actually see what the value is with these improvements that we're talking about, you're going to be able to go in a property, get it at rock bottom dollars, put minimum in, and either sell it or rent it. And these are just tips and tricks that will help you do that and get the edge on the buy and the sell side. All right, so this is great. We do have a couple questions here, and I just want to remind all of you to go ahead and post your real estate questions. We're going to answer as many as possible. But I do want to give a shout out to Matt and Tammy Lafferty. I love that you are on, and they said so much valuable information, Karen. Thank you. We love you, Matt and Tammy. They've been in our coaching program. They're part of the Wealth Builders family, and I love their investors in San Antonio. They're doing amazing, so we're so glad to have you on. Okay, so Henry, hello, Henry. This is a great question, and I'm gonna ask each one of you to answer this and get your perspective. But he said, is this a good time to buy fixer-uppers? And so, Troy, let's start with you on that one.
One word, Henry. Yes, it is a great time to buy fixer-uppers, so don't miss it.
That is great, Frank.
Well, my answer is a little longer than that, if it's okay.
Yes.
I mean, it is. I mean, here's some things you got to be concerned with, though. Make sure you're conservative on your ARV. A good realtor can help you with that. You got to be conservative.
ARV, tell them what that means.
After repaired value, in other words, what it's going to sell for, or close to what it's going to sell for. Make sure when you're doing your estimate for your fix and flip, you don't just guesstimate. You get a contractor in there and you build an overage. And it's not like HGTV where you buy for 200, you put 50 into it, you sell it for 300, you made 50. Doesn't work that way. You probably lost money. As a matter of fact, you've got to take into account closing costs, loan costs, utilities, taxes, all of that stuff. And it's going to add up really quick. That's something that we cover, by the way, and Karen mentioned this in the our real estate coaching program, is we analyze deals for you and help you so you don't make a big mistake. Like I said, don't overfix.
Yeah, that's really good. Mike, what's your thoughts on that about it being a time for fixer-uppers?
I think it is a great time, and especially just what you taught today, Karen. I mean, 17% increase for staging. I mean, right there, that is a tremendous value. So if you fix a place up, you better make sure that you stage it. And listen, I think people need to know this. Not all the eyes are Karen Conrad's eyes. So you may need to get 2 or 3 sets of eyes in on the property, and somebody goes, well, I like this. You know, no, that's really ugly. That's out. And so I think it's good for guys to, especially to come in and get some help and seeing what this could look like. And 17% increase. That's just amazing. I think it's a great time to fix, have a fixer upper.
I agree. And just personally, we are really being aggressive right now and finding those properties that have good bones, although sometimes if there's like a foundation crack or something, it scares away a lot of people. You can come in really low and it doesn't cost that much to fix. We walk you through all that in the coaching program. We do analyze deals with each, individual deals for sure. But I really think right now, because people have gotten so lazy in real estate, because it didn't take anything to sell it, I really think the opportunity is now and just ahead. And so we're super excited. We want to find those properties that what we found too, you guys know we're into rehabs. And we've got our advanced real estate coaching team is coming down to Florida. We've got our boots on the ground this week. So we're going to be going live with you on that as well. But one thing that we've learned is that sometimes if there is a lot wrong, just price it that you have to replace pretty much everything. And we've actually found a real big edge in the market with that, going in it with that. And then other times, just really look at it and what do we absolutely have to do? And what are the things that maybe are want to do, but the neighborhood doesn't support it, when you guys mentioned that. And real quick, before we go to the next question, I'm getting a lot of questions. Are we going to get the PowerPoint and stuff? And you are. I will even upload a couple more pictures for you of the before and afters, because I thought I had the bathroom on there, but I didn't. But I've got a couple other areas too that will give you some insight. But also, if you are watching this on Facebook and you are not on Zoom, or if you're watching it on YouTube and you aren't on Zoom where we have your email to send it to, here's what I want you to do is just send a request to, sorry, the team's probably like, Karen, but send a request to info@wealthbuilders.org and just simply say, can I please have the PowerPoint for today? And then we'll get you added to our email list. We'll send that out to you so that you've got it. And that opportunity will be here this entire week. It's really going to be a fun week of real estate. Okay, here we go. Let's go to this next question. This is from Lori Yates. Hi, Lori. And she says, what are some of the best avenues to find information on possible sub twos like PropStream? Do you think that is a must to find out the information needed to strategize? Frank, can I start with you on this one?
PropStream's really good. But there's a lot of other ones too. I mean, the main thing you've got to find is you've got to find people that are having a problem, that have a low interest rate and have some equity, and that you can help bail them out. Now, those properties are not likely on the MLS. So again, PropStream can help, mailings, door knockings. There's a whole, a whole marketing thing we go through with the coaching program, and some of the stuff that Bill Bronchick's got on his site that we can talk about. But yeah, you're not gonna find them on the MLS. Troy, what about you?
Yeah, I'd agree with that. And I'll say PropStream is a great program, but here's the danger of getting into programs like that is you can get lost in the research ocean.
Yeah.
Not actually talk to the seller. So if you do, like Frank mentioned, you get into the coaching program and we do talk about different ways to market. I've done a lot of marketing to get these types of sellers to call me. And I don't even care what they owe, what their lien situation is, nothing. All I want to know is I'm talking to a motivated seller, and then we can find a way to make the deal work. So the best thing to do is find a way to get in front of these sellers, and then you can worry about the research later.
Yeah.
Awesome. That's great. Just a reminder too, like we're going to be talking about this stuff much more in depth. It's over 20 hours, a power-packed, Bill Bronchick calls it real estate crash course, October 13th through the 15th. Yeah. And really, I'm just telling you, it's changed all of our life to be a part of that, and the people that you get to meet. We've had healings at our workshops, so it's like that biblical foundation, practical how-tos, and we've just been super blessed. So we really want you to be a part of it in person if possible. Again, you can click on the link, use the code WB200 to get $200 off. All right, this is a great question coming in from Kristen Anderson. Are there any guidelines about purchasing a fixer-upper for rental or flip if I'm not able to do the work myself? Mike, let's start with you on that one.
Well, like Frank said, you got to make sure to get a contractor in there, and one that's reputable, the one that you can go and see what kind of work he has done. And if you get a contractor in there, and then Frank always says this as well, once you get all of your statistics, how much it's going to cost you to fix it up, you probably should add 10 or 15% more. And more than likely, if they say 2 weeks, you better add a few days on to that.
Months.
Okay. Frank, man.
That's the way contractors are.
That's right. Okay. 2 weeks. 2 weeks.
Yeah, 2 weeks. Hey,
right.
I'm actually doing a session on fix and flips at the workshop. Okay. And so, hey, Troy, do you want to add something on there about the fix and flips?
Sure. With fix and flips, and I like the way that you looked at this, is fix and flip or rental, because you want to be looking at your properties with both options in mind right now. So you might have plan A to do a fix and flip and plan B to cash flow it. If you know you can do either or, then you've got a good deal that you can profit from. So really a lot of it's in the front end analysis. And then you do just like Mike said, you make sure you've got a good contractor to handle the back end, and then you kind of walk them through the process. Now, one thing I would say is when you do put a contractor in place, don't pay them all up front, set them on a draw schedule. They'll be motivated to get the job done on time when they know that after they finish 30%, they get a 30% check. They finish 60%, they get a 60% check. But you don't pay them till an agreed amount of work has been done. And that way you'll keep them motivated and moving through the process so that your job's done as close to on time as possible.
Yeah, that's so good. And that could be it is a whole session, but we cover that a lot too, because there's so many nuances to it. Frank, do you have anything you want to add on fix and flips?
Well, one of the things that I like to do, your contractor's going to squawk, but I like to do a 10% holdback until that punch list is absolutely done. Otherwise, Adios, muchacho. Yeah. I mean, seriously, even your friends will go say, well, I can make a lot more money on this other job. So fix it
I want
yourself.
to get a clip of that. That
Yeah.
was really good, Frank.
Yeah.
Adios, muchacho.
Well, that's what they'll tell you.
That's right.
Oh, that's so good. All right, we've got time for one more question here. And again, we're doing this every day at the same time this week, 3 p.m. Mountain, 4 p.m. Central, 5 p.m. Eastern. We're just gonna hop on and we're gonna give you all things real estate here. So here is a question from Chris. He says, I live in South Florida and the prices are not coming down. Will these prices here maintain the same or will there be another bubble? Troy, you and I are in Florida, so I'm going to pitch that to you to
All right. So, Chris, great question. But I want you to understand with the real estate market, it is not as volatile as the stock market. You can look ahead and you can pretty much see where we're going 6 months in advance. Now, are we going to see some prices come down? Yes. What's holding our prices in Florida right now is we have very low inventory, and that low inventory is helping us to keep up with demand. But inventory has been slowly ticking up, and that's happened across many of the Florida markets that we do watch, including in the South Florida area. So as you see inventory tick up, you'll also notice that sellers are starting to list their price at one point, and they're starting to drop the price to get it sold. So you might not be seeing significant price drops yet, but you are going to see some softening coming in the market. Just be patient. It's coming. It's here.
Yep.
Yeah, that's so good. Okay, guys, so we're out of time, but a reminder, if you want the PowerPoint that I shared, and you are on Zoom, you're going to get it, so you're good. But if you're watching this on Facebook, YouTube, one of the other platforms, email us at info@wealthbuilders.org. Say I'm requesting the PowerPoint, and we'll get you added to our email list. We'll get that right out to you. And I think you're really going to benefit this week. Tomorrow, we're going to be talking about what's going on in today's market. So we are going to dig in deeper with just some analysis, which I think will help you, some trends for you to really see the incredible position that we're in right now and the opportunity that is ahead. Wednesday, we're going to do a live property analysis. Thursday, we're going to do vacation rentals and what to look for in a vacation rental property and how to maximize your income on those. And then Friday, we are going to talk about, Mike is going to lead us, Pastor Mike, on God's blessing during a famine, which was actually Troy's suggestion. So we'll all be inputting on that too. So it's a Power Pack week. Thank you so much, guys, for being a part of this. Mike, Frank, and Troy, you are such a blessing. And thank you, all of you, for tuning in and sharing our passion for real estate and our passion for building wealth God's way so that we can build legacy, generational wealth, and bring transformation to our communities, our nation, and to the world. We have a real opportunity just ahead. So we'll see you tomorrow with more real estate. God bless you and have an amazing rest of the day.